a fantastic time it is to be alive, Warhammer 40K fans. This is Spruce and Studs, and I feel like I'm living in a wet dream right now. That might be a little bit too much, but perhaps close. What I could only fantasize about in my raging hormone years has become a reality. Obviously, miniature versions of Warhammer 40K models have been now blown up to a gigantic size and scale in these lovely action figures. We have seen JoyToy absolutely hit a home run with the Imperial Knight, and now we have our first Demon Primarch on our hands. So come join me in this review to see if JoyToy has one-upped themselves or even hit a grand slam with Angron, starting off with the unboxing. I wanted to take this time to especially thank Bruce and the members over at David Toys for providing me pretty much an advanced copy of Angron to review. I have you guys to thank because, well, this channel definitely would not exist without you all. Now, you're probably like, why the hell should I care about David Toys? Well, I'll give you some reasons to care about them. They are a very reputable website where you can get these Warhammer 40K as well as Horus Heresy action figures. Rest assured, if there is a problem with the action figure that you have ordered from them, they will do their best to right the wrong. Not to mention, they have free shipping. And then finally, let me tell you a story about tariffs. I recently imported a product for another hobby from overseas, and the dealer basically said, well, you're probably going to encounter some sort of tariffs or extra fees that are going to be added on. I thought, sure, it's going to be probably maybe $60 or $70 on top of that, so I could probably suck it up, but no. It was actually 3 times the amount, so I was completely blindsided by that fact. Now with David Toys, the price that you see is literally what you get. There are no hidden fees, there are no tariffs, so you never will be blindsided by them. So if I have convinced you, just click in the link in the description below where you will be brought to their website. And before you check out, do not forget to use my affiliate code SNS to receive 12% off. And with that being said, it's time to get to the review. At the top of this skyscraper of angry red flesh is an intensely decorated World Eater halo. The design looks perfect to me, with the fangs of this legion sinking its teeth into a greenish gold hapless world. The skulls that are on top also are highly detailed with realistic cracks that are accented by this really nice intense shading. Angron is also rocking a metallic hood over his head, which features a good amount of pitting. And of course these lovely World Eater fangs right here. The universe's most angry demon comes with 2 types of faces. There's this one with a resting neutral face, and this one with more raw passion right here. With both of the faces, you have these interesting metal-like dreads that are sprouting out of the top of his head. One thing that strikes me is the level of shading and texturing that is all throughout the figure, with his face being no exception to the rule. The valleys are dark on both of the faces, which really makes all the features stand out. The texturing almost adopts this interesting mix of lizard scales and a leathery texture. And this is the back of the head for the reference, and this is where you attach this part to the neck. With the rage face, you can see more detail on the tongue as well as the fangs, and due to those reasons, I actually prefer this angry face more than the resting one. It's not often we get to talk about a neck, but this Demon of Hatred has a very prominent one, full of hoses and shaded muscular striations that make this action figure truly unique out of the lot of figures that we have reviewed thus far on the channel. Moving on to the pauldrons, here we get the edgy metal flavor of the action figure. The right one boasts the vicious World Eater symbol with especially razor-sharp fangs ready to consume the world. Here you literally get a bigger picture of the world looks like, complete with its golden continents and putrescent-looking seas. Either way, the biggest thing that leaps out at me is the amount of battle damage that was given to this area, if not the whole figure. The texturing on the leather fringe is sublime, giving you the sense that this is corrugated and rough. Then to further add to the spice, the chainmail underneath it all is simultaneously highlighted and shaded at the same time, which is perfect from a painting aspect. Then on the left pauldron, there is a glorious Khorne icon that sings praises to the Rage God. I suppose I would have liked to seen this tannish area a different color, such as black, because it would have contrasted with the gold of the Khorne decoration to make it stand out more. Arms-wise, you are submerged by an ocean of shading and texturization. The musculature looks fantastic on this figure. Even the armor that protects the forearm has a massive amount of detail that is associated with it. And this is the view of Mr. Redmond's right arm right here. I'm very happy that JoyToy provided us with a plethora of hands, including the ones that hold the weapons, the closed fists of hatred, the rending claws of pure rage, and the go fuck them up my minions pointy finger. Oh, I want to take this opportunity to tell you to hit that subscribe button. Obviously, it's a free thing and it helps the channel out immensely. And if you're not convinced, just look at my past history on YouTube, and I would argue that I probably have the most extensive review of Warhammer 40K and Horus Heresy action figures. So if you want to see your feed inundated with these action figures review, well, you already know what to do. The first layer of this red beast chest is dominated by a necklace of skulls and this token morning star head. The chains of this necklace are made of a soft plastic, so you can manipulate this area a little bit. And the skulls that are included with this death metal necklace are the same ones that you find atop this blood demon, but there are some subtle variations here and there. Underneath all that decor, you get the chest plate of the armor, which depicts, I suppose, some ram's horns on both sides, and I love the gratuitous use of deep scratches that have been further augmented by shading. Looks like Angron has not skipped Ab Day for 10,000 years because he sports a very well-defined, manly, or demonically six-pack complete with more of this fantastic shaded sinew. The waist is dominated by a gigantic metal loincloth which fits the whole entire aesthetic of the figure. There are enough skulls to fill a catacomb, and on top of that there are enough morning stars and various other blunt-headed weapons to equip a small army. And here is the view from the glorious other side. Just in case if you forgot the origin of this Wrathful Primarch, there's a prominent belt buckle of the World Eaters here. Then there's leather fringe, chainmail, and tattered cloth to add to what we've seen on the pauldrons. Protecting the demonic goat-like legs of this Fury God is the same armor that we saw in the pauldron area. Again, the armor is clearly a darker tan color with golden accents to help define the different regions. Anyway, there is more glorious wounds of war on this armor, which matches the Primarch's looks. You've got another World Eater symbol on the right knee, while the left one sports a rather imposing skull. I do like how JoyToy painted a little bit of shade in the golden areas of the armor with the skull included. Finally, we have arrived at the cloven hoofs of this blood demon, which are nicely textured. Turning the legs around, there's a massive amount of sinew, and you can also see some vasculature here. I am enjoying how these hoses plunge into the flesh and leave a realistic scarring pattern. Finally, we have arrived at the broad back of Mr. Needs anger management, and there is an overblown version of a Space Marine backpack here, which is kind of interesting as to why a Demon Primarch would even need one. The backpack almost looks as if it has been infused by the flesh of Angron, as evidenced by these hoses. I'm not sure if this is a purposeful thing, but this glossy area here kind of bothers me and does not match the overall look of the figure. Thankfully, it's on the back, so you won't notice it that much. These wing stalks look almost like two arms that are erupting out of the back of Angron. As a side note, you can actually attach his other hands to these pegs to make a truly warp-perverted figure. Angron has a massive tail that mimics the roughly lizard-like texture that dominates the rest of his body. There are 3 total segments, with the first one that connects to the body, this middle part right here, and then a very long part which contains some tasty designs. I'm a huge fan of not only the texturing, but the tremendous amount of shading that has pulled in between the scales to give off a richer, deeper, more flavorful look. Obviously, Angron comes with a pair of massive wings that literally can block out the sun. These wings from claw to claw are literally the entire length of Angron standing up, as revealed right here. This membrane over here is actually made of solid plastic There is absolutely no give whatsoever on this thing. Despite this flight apparatus being very large, there is still a ton of detail that can be found all over it. I'm a big fan of the veins that run all throughout the wing. The claws on the upper part of the wings are flexible, as you can see here. But what I like about these claws are what seems like to be some growth patterns over here. Then on various parts of the wing, you can act as if this is a demonic Christmas tree and hang macabre ornaments such as these highly detailed skulls and various implements of death. And I will demonstrate to you right now, hanging this lovely Christmas ornament right here. With this chain, wait, this is not the right one. Now this is a chain axe more fitting of a demon Primarch. So where should I begin with Spine Grinder? This is magnificent, brutal, and vicious. So let's start off with the glorious worn patina of this double-toothed chain axe. The axe has countless scrapes and dents due to what I am assuming is the gratuitous usage of this blood-letting weapon. I absolutely adore the color balance of this weapon and how the dull colors of the handle and this short shaft over here draws your attention to this multicolored and multi-textured axe head. The purplish pink metallic hue on the axe head are quite a sight to behold, and this gives away to an equally amazing copper slash bronzish axe head with this almost lizard-like scale at the center of it. These teeth or fangs mimic the smaller ones that you find on the Khorne Berserker as well. Even the handle is highlighted at the top edge of the bindings, which also displays an insane level of detail or texture to it. Alright, with the Samna Arius sword, interestingly enough, it is not quite as impressive as the axe, but I think this is due to the color choice. But don't get me wrong, this weapon commands attention by its own right. Just like with the axe, this sword displays battle scars all throughout the black blade by these heavy scratches over here, as well as pitting. I really like how the damage is further accented by highlighting the edge of the scars as well as the edges of the blade. Then your eyes are immediately drawn to the rift in the middle of the blade that mimics a lava tear in the ground. The usage of bronze and yellow metallic colors really makes this weapon pop. I'm a big fan of using function and form together in the sense that this cornate symbol doubles as a decoration as well as the hilt of this black blade. Now let's talk about some random statistics on this lovely figure that we have here. So with the body, the wings, the tail, and the weapons, this thing weighs a total of 5 pounds and 10 ounces. I know it's hard to tell because of depth perception wise, but he stands at about 15 inches tall. The tail is around 11 inches long. The sword is 9.5 inches long. The chain axe is around 8 inches long. And from claw to claw, these wings are roughly 15 inches wide. So let's talk about movement. You can spin the head 360 degrees, as you can see right here. The neck has a good amount of movement associated to it. And I thought this neck was actually a solid piece, but it is actually hollow, so therefore squishable, as you can see. And underneath it all, you can see a long bar and a joint that connects to the back of the figure. You can rotate this shoulder joint right here 360 degrees, provided it doesn't catch on any random things here, and there's a lot of things that you can catch this thing on. This is exactly how the pauldron attaches to the figure itself. You can rotate this forearm 360 degrees around. These elbows right here are double jointed, as you can tell, and you can roughly achieve 90 degrees with it. The hands have good range of motion associated to it, and the fingers are flexible, but enough to grip the weapons firmly. I'm not going to demonstrate this, but torso to waist, you can get 360 degrees of rotation. Then hip to leg, you also can get 360 degrees, as I'm demonstrating right here. Side to side, you can get a little bit over 90 degrees. The knees are also double jointed with 90 degrees of bending right here. Then with the calf area, you can swivel this back and forth as I'm demonstrating. The hoofs are movable, but have limited side to side motion. And interestingly enough, you can move these demon piggies around. Demon piggies. These wing arms have roughly 180 degrees of rotation that is slightly limited due to the length of this gigantic claw and these small winglets right here. Now I have to say these joints are very stiff and heavy to operate. I prefer it this way due to the heaviness of the figure and it being able to keep a pose. The looser joints would lead to sag, and we don't ever want sagginess. We want erect and firm. I think that this stand here fits the overall look of the figure. It is roughly 12.5 inches long, and these rocks here look relatively realistic in terms of how a painted miniature rock would look if you're looking at a GW mini. And these are stands which I believe are supposed to support the massive wings of this gigantic character. Assembly is rather easy on this Demon Primarch. You only have to attach the tail right here, and voila, it's on. Then the wings attach via this peg, and then a Demon Primarch served for your viewing pleasure. It's time for everybody's favorite part, which is size comparison. Let's start off with a Blood Angels captain with a jump pack and move on to the chapter specific Ball Predator. Next we have our resonant size comparison V3 Blood Angel. And now we have Titus hanging out next to the Angry Demon. And now we have Angron's little Khorne Berserker grunt next to him. The Lord Invocatus on top of the Juggernaut has now rushed in. And now we have Leman Russ, a non-Chaos Infused Primarch. Speaking of Chaos Infused, we have Horus. Stepping in the picture, we have a Blood Angels Redemptor Dreadnought. And finally, standing next to Angron, we have the largest piece of Imperial machinery, which is the Knight Paladin. You know, every single time JoyToy makes these gargantuan type figures, I am amazed about how they are able to fabricate something of this size. I was impressed with the level of detail on the Imperial Knight, but I am even more impressed with the level of detail of Angron. This thing is absolutely phenomenal in my opinion. However, this action figure is definitely not without its drawbacks, and I'll name you a few. The biggest drawback of this action figure is its inability to stand up on its own. Most of the time, you're going to have these support braces to help Angron stand up by himself, which kind of sucks in my opinion. As I was trying to put the various parts of Angron together, I will let you know that putting that tail on is a complete pain in the ass. In fact, I couldn't even get it on. I tried using the hot water method, it didn't work. Then I used a heat gun to try to expand the tail. That didn't work either. And I think that posing this figure was really hard and very finicky. I'll probably just leave him in this position, and that's literally it. That's the last time I will touch him. And the only other small gripe that I have is probably just the armor itself. I would have liked if the armor wasn't a tan color because, like I said in the review, it blends in a little bit too much with the gold. Probably a black would help the look of the armor, but again, very tiny gripe. On a positive note though, I think that JoyToy did a fantastic job of capturing the aesthetic and ethos of this action figure. I was really impressed with the level of detail, especially with the shading and the musculature. On top of that, the battle damage on the armor is glorious looking. And finally, the weapons themselves are truly a sight to behold. Now we have come to the point in the review where I asked the question, is this figure going to be worth it? Again, that answer is going to be entirely up to you. I've given you some drawbacks as well as some positives for this action figure. For those of you who are casual fans, the price is definitely a pretty big barrier to entry, and this is where you have to ask probably the most important question, which is, do you like the figure or do you love the figure? And I think that if you arrive to any conclusion aside from I love it, I believe you have the answer to that question that I posed. For people who love the World Eaters and also love a centerpiece in their collection, this figure is an absolute must-have. Members of the chapter, thank you so much for watching this action figure review. Leave a comment in the comment section because I'm really curious to see what your thoughts are on this action figure. Do you believe that this is going to be a must-buy for you? Do you think that the price point is perfect? Or do you think that this is going to be kind of a novelty item for you that you're going to pass on? Again, let me know. And with that being said, thank you so much for your subscribes, likes, and comments. I obviously would not be here without you all. And I appreciate each and every single one of you. And I'll see you all in the next one.